Thanks for checking out the Playhouse podcast, always powered up by our friends at Bradshaw and Bryant Law Offices, seeking justice for the injured. They also power up our live show from 5:30 to 9 every weekday on KCLD. Right now, you get the whole show on demand. Here comes the podcast. Kat's son, when he got yelled at by an old woman because he rode his bike on her grass, basically, he said to his mom, "No going back there because she's drinking and doing drugs." And Kat goes, "Really? What kind of drugs?" The white and orange kind.
Yeah.
So
the really bad kind.
It kind of made me start thinking, like, number one, where he got that from. Just because an elderly person yelled at him, he assumed that they were drinking and doing drugs.
He thought he saw it on the patio table. He said he saw a beer, and then he said he saw those drugs.
It was a Lipton iced tea and, her heart medication. But
some would say he wanted to get me out of there with that recumbent bike, get me home, get me out of
most
sight.
would say. When was the first time you ever saw hard drugs?
Hard drugs?
Yeah, like
I've never seen a hard drug.
You've never seen
life.
heroin or cocaine?
No.
In your entire life?
No.
I was at the first time I ever saw really hard drugs, I was at a party. I was a sophomore in college. And these guys that lived in a quad on campus. So basically it was like 4 guys, but it was 2 rooms, and then they all had a bathroom, right? Like that was the shared middle room.
Yeah.
And he had it was a guy that I played pool with all the time in college, and he had a bunch of people over. There was maybe 5 or 8 of us there. And all of a sudden, he, on the table that they had, like a glass table, starts cutting up a line of cocaine.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, I immediately thought, oh, my God, I'm going to get caught. They're going to kick me off the baseball team if they find out I'm at a party with cocaine. That was immediately my first thought. I go, I got to go. And he goes, well, you don't want to do it? I go, no, I don't want to do any cocaine.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what's really weird is, like, cocaine is really expensive. I would not be a sharer. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I went to school with a ton of these trust fund babies.
Unless you don't want to get
kid.
high by yourself, you know what I mean? No one wants to be high by themselves.
But I don't think cocaine is that kind of drug. I think cocaine and heroin, you do it and you don't care if anybody else is doing it.
Yeah, so that's why it's weird.
I think marijuana is a little bit more of a recreational, let's pass it around drug or whatever. Yeah. But I just wanted to know real quick, when was the first time you saw a really hard drug? You know what I mean? Like it was coke, heroin. I don't know. You put shrooms in there, acid.
Yeah.
You know, what else do you consider like a hard drug?
Meth.
Okay, meth too. Right. So when was the first? I mean, when was the first time you saw?
I've only seen marijuana. I've only seen it once. I've only seen someone smoke marijuana once.
I've
seen cookies.
I've seen. I was at a radio event. It was I was doing a bar gig, and I saw somebody in the bathroom that was smoking meth.
Really?
Yeah, and because at first I was like, "What is that smell?" And then I see him in the stall with the glass pipe, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's doing methamphetamines." I know someone's gonna have a
problem with me saying this, but meth is just not a cute drug. You know what I mean? Cocaine's not cute.
There's nothing good about it, no.
But it's just like not. It's just like makes your skin
horrible.
Well,
because of what happened in the 80s with the cocaine boom, I think it's a little bit more
sexualized.
It's very sexualized. But then everybody on Wall Street was doing coke.
Yeah.
You don't hear about everybody on Wall Street doing meth. You know what I mean? Or heroin. Maybe it is. We just don't hear about it or anything. But when was the first time you saw a really hard drug and, like, what was it?
Have you ever known anybody to smuggle cocaine in their butt in a balloon? Have you ever heard of that?
Well, I was 19.
Glad you got it on camera.
Okay, well, we just put him on camera.
Camera caught you.
They caught them on camera, actually.
They caught you on camera.
I got you, and it's all on camera. Now, we just talked to Lori, who apparently has got a poop bandit on her hands. She's walking outside, and every day she walks out to her front step, and there be poops.
That's just got to be hard, though, to be. And I feel like I'm the neighbor that is respectful. I have a lot of really great neighbors, but to have somebody allow their pets to come onto your property and have them poop, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know that their cat or
feral
dog
cats in every neighborhood. There are cats that are just living off the land, and that cat might just find, if you leave the light on, maybe it's a nice little warm stoop.
But
and
Lori,
it just decides.
she got a camera. She installed it. I told her to send us stills or video of what she finds. But what did you find on camera? Caught on camera.
Natasha, what's good? What'd you find on your camera, your security cam?
So we had put a camera in my friend's wreath on her door because people were stealing like her kids' toys and things on her porch, like decor.
Jeez.
Like Hobby Lobby decor.
Okay.
Like the nice stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and instead of catching the thief, we caught her boyfriend cheating on her.
Oh!
What did you see? Tell me what you saw.
They were kissing on the front porch.
What
and
an
then
idiot.
He brought her inside.
Into the house.
Wow. So how did that confrontation go? She's like, "Hey, do you want to watch this video with me?" He had no idea. Obviously, the camera was there, right?
So she had asked, like, "So what'd you do today?" And he goes, "Oh, I was at work, blah, blah, blah." She goes, "Well, what's this?"
Mm-hmm.
And just showed him the video, and yeah.
It's so good to have that evidence, too, because they're lying. They're going to deny, and then you pull out that video.
Don't tell me she's still with this guy.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you got to send him packing. Was the other chick at least kind of hot?
Yeah. What's that?
Was the other chick at least kind of hot?
No.
Oh.
No.
Guys are so
like
stupid.
5 steps down.
Guys are so stupid. It's like women will go and get a room, somewhere. I don't know how a guy can have it on his conscience and go in and
bring
do
her
the
in
deed and not be nervous the whole time that somebody's going to come home.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah, but see, you never caught the criminals, but you caught the loser.
Yeah.
Our trip to Colorado was canceled, sadly, because of COVID.
Yeah.
And one of the hotels we were looking at brought me back because when I was younger, my dad had this job opportunity at this huge hotel. It was a big white hotel in Colorado. And we pull up and...
He was going to manage it?
He was going to manage it, and he was going to do maintenance and just keep it up because in the winter season,
well, then you
it
get to live there
down.
free then too, right?
We did get to live there free. So
Nice.
my mom, it was before my sister arrived, so it was just the three of us, and we got this really amazing room in one of the wings of the hotel. And then, we were great, and everyone left the first couple of days, and then it was just us. And so we're staying there, and then cabin fever kind of kicks in, and you just never know how certain people are going to react. And then we were there one day, and I remember they let me ride my bike around the hallways because there was no one there. And so I rode this red tricycle.
As fast as you
and
could
I was
be.
all around, and it was so fun.
Hey, Vernay, real quick, what's going on?
It's The Shining.
It is The Shining! Yay!
Dang it! I thought I'd be able to at least make it to Red Round.
Good, super quick this
Oh,
morning.
heck no.
Good
Everybody
job,
knows
Brittany.
that.
You said we were going to manage, my dad was going to manage it. I'm like, that's crap. Cat's dad did not do that for a living.
We all know that Kat is the world's greatest liar, so anytime you hear her decide to take a movie and turn it into her own life, you get the hook up, but you got to holler at us right quick. So we're going to make sure it's worth your while this morning. All right, Vernay?
All right.
I explained this to Kat earlier this morning, and I kind of teased it out a couple of seconds ago, but basically what I'd like to know is if you ever worked in the same place twice, and I'll tell you why I'm asking about it. Now, Joe, you've done this?
I'm actually on my third tour of the same company.
No way. You don't have to say where it is, but what do you do for a living?
Sales manager.
And have they fired you, or have you quit voluntarily and then come back?
Quit and came back.
And then they fired you, and you still came back again.
Well, no, they never fired me. I quit, but I quit twice, and then they hired me for a third time.
Every time you came back, was it because you got more of what you wanted, whether it was salary, compensation, vacation, whatever the deal was?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I get that, right? If you quit and then they have to have you and you get to get a little bit better on your terms. But let me tell you the story. This is what happened. So I have a friend who also works in radio and manages this radio station. Well, because of COVID, everybody's, sales are down a little bit. And they had this girl on the morning show. They had a 3-person morning show. And this girl was trouble, the whole time. So this was a great excuse to kind of trim the fat, save some money, and let her go. So last Friday, when they got off the air, he had to have the conversation. He said, come on into the break room here. And he hands her compensation package and says, hey, unfortunately, we need to let you go. And she's like, okay, well, I appreciate it and stuff like that. She goes and immediately cashes the check. All right. But here's the kicker. Monday morning, 5 a.m., she shows up. Her key still
Again,
worked.
it was a joke.
And she thought she was just being joked with, right? She walks in the studio. The other 2 people are there. They're like, Ashley, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, that thing Friday, that was just a joke. Let's get the show started. And so the two other morning show people are texting this guy all day. They're like, she's here. And he wakes up at 7 o'clock to turn on the radio to hear that she's on the radio station. And all these texts from the other two people saying, what happened? She's here this morning. So he has to run into the radio, say, lets him finish the show at like 9. He goes, Ashley, we need to talk. And he had to explain to her that she had been fired or let go and that it wasn't a joke. We gave you this compensation package and severance and everything. He said, and then she burst into tears, not realizing that she had been fired and actually like got a whole nother day out of it. So they had to pay her again.
That is crazy.
Isn't
That's
that
a great
so
story.
crazy?
I have never, and this is, we work in one of these businesses that usually if you get let go, the radio station doesn't take you back. They just move on to somebody else. But when I've been fired, it was a blaze of glory. It was yelling, shouting, screaming, telling everybody what you usually thought of them. And never once did I thought, well, let me go back the next day and see if that was just a joke. You know what I mean?
That's an awesome story. It was a joke.
It would literally, she goes, yeah, they were just joking with me. And these other two people are like, I don't know what to do. We've got to put her on the show because she's here. It was so, I get anxious just thinking about it right now.
That is so funny.
Up in the Playhouse.
Now that you know the story, I want to know, have you ever worked any place more than once? Like they canned you and then you started working there again.
I don't know. I don't know if I have that humility in me.
Now, Andrew, you've been fired like multiple times. Is that the deal?
A few times.
What do you do? Who brings you back after they fire you? What do you do for a living?
You must be a hot commodity.
Well, the first time was at Leanne Chin. I guess they just brought me back. Second time was I was the assistant manager at Panda Express here in St. Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at DeBow Textile twice. And I've worked at the Cold Spring Brewery 4 times.
And all these times,
God.
like you've been fired and then they let you come back to work?
Yeah.
This is
You've
so
been
odd.
fired a lot. Like, what are the reasons you were fired? Couldn't have been that
my
bad.
temper. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just my temper and telling people how and what to do.
Then they're like, maybe his temper has subsided.
So what they've all done is they've decided it's time for Andrew to have a little time out. And then we'll bring him back when he calms down. Is that the deal?
I'm pretty sure.
That to me is insane.
That is so crazy.
They knew you had a temper. They hired you 4 times.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Just that location. Other places have hired him multiple times.
You got canned, and you ended up going back. I'd love to find out why. What are they calling the new NASA cologne?
It's called Ode to Space. And if you're wondering what space smells like, they have bottled it and recreated it in a lab. And now it's coming out to the public. And the people that have purchased it and spent money, they're like giving reviews. Don't buy it. Don't waste your money. It smells like bitter, like smoke and like a fried steak, rum and raspberry.
I wanted to know when
combo.
NASA got into the perfume business. You know what I mean? How about
I think it's a fun novelty thing. I don't think that they thought it would be like a trend. You know, like Britney Spears has amazing scents and always comes out with new scents.
Rihanna has the good stuff too, right?
Rihanna, Paris Hilton does. They're all really good smelling perfumes, but I want to know what the worst is.
Remember the days you could walk through a department store and they would just have the counter full of them and
Yeah.
you could just spray down whatever you wanted?
Now, if you even look at one, then they're like right there and they're like, what do you want? What do you need? Do you want the gift sets? $20? You want to upgrade to $40?
Desperate car salesman.
I know.
So
Let me just spray it.
We just want to know, what's the worst? JT, what's the worst, man?
O.D. Beaumont Bolt.
What? Say that again.
O.D. Beaumont Bolt.
As in Beaumont.
Texas.
Beaumont, Texas. I used to work at a gasket and fastener place.
Yeah.
And outside they had a saw shop. A good buddy of mine, we called him Big Nate. Well, we called him Big Nasty, but his name was Nate.
To his face, he was Big Nate. Okay.
Basically, was Big Nate, unless you knew him real well. Well, he was about 326 pounds, about, 6 foot something. And he would come in from that saw shop outside in East Texas, just sweat. And he called it O.D. Beaumont Bolt.
So he made his own brew. I get it.
Yeah, he had his own scent.
And if you smelt it to this day, you would know exactly what it was, right?
Oh, I'd turn around thinking I was having a beer with Nate.
There it is. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes, man, when you think stank, usually it doesn't have good memories, but obviously it is for you, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I miss that guy. He was a good friend.
What's the nastiest? I mean, you just smell it immediately, like, ugh. Kimberly.
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good. What just stinks the worst?
that stereotypical powdery floral like old lady perfume.
What is
They
that?
like to just put the. I don't even know what brand it is, but I swear whenever I go to a nursing home or even when my grandma was alive, she would pour half the bottle on herself.
Maybe a little bit is like a Elizabeth Taylor Diamonds, and then mixed with powder.
Yes.
Mixed with crotch.
Aquanet and oatmeal cookies.
Exactly.
It's exactly what our little vestibule at church smells like at 9:30 on a Sunday morning. I told you I wasn't going to dedicate much time to this nonsense. But because Kat has done the research. Now, are you part of a crackpot Facebook group on this, or what's the deal?
No, I Googled.
She Googled, and apparently in our area over the last few months, there's been 250 UFO sightings.
You just got everything wrong. Over the last 2 years,
2 years.
there have been 221 reported sightings of UFOs.
Who do you report this to, by the way? If you leave work today and you think you saw a UFO, who do you report this to? You don't call the cops, right?
I don't know if there is a website that just tallies up.
Well, then it must be real.
Encounters, but these are things that freak people out. Like, I know everyone knows what an airplane looks like and moves like. Everyone knows what a helicopter looks like and moves like. Even a drone is identifiable. But when something is like weirdly, oddly moving and oddly shaped in the sky, people notice. So,
are we that stupid compared to the aliens that they won't even encounter us?
Probably. They don't want none of this, especially this year. They're like, no.
2020 is a fun experiment on these guys.
Like, Alan, Henry, come back. We'll go down there. We'll check it out in 2021.
I can't dedicate a whole lot of time to this nonsense, but I wanted to bring Greg on because apparently you're a believer and you've seen this action.
Back around 1998, in a late July night, driving a speedboat, an object came out from the east.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be in the atmosphere. It looked like a giant Tic Tac.
Mm-hmm.
It flew very quickly from the east at late at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. The sun had just set.
Mm-hmm.